Alright guys, looks like we have an update when it comes to the Nintendo Switch 2 and pre-orders. Things seem to be moving along. There's an actual pre-order update when it comes to the system itself, which is the obvious thing that everyone wants to pre-order here and want to know more information. So shout outs to Jake Randall over on Twitter. He put this up not too long ago as of the time that I'm recording this video, and he states that new leaks are now suggesting a potential April 21st Nintendo Switch 2 pre-order date for the US, which oddly differs from the April 23rd Canada date. I would say keep it all in mind and watch out for updates this week. He also adds that I believe April 30th is a placeholder date some retailers have in their system. The April 23rd Canada date was also subject to change, so we could potentially be looking at an April 21st North American pre-order date for both US and Canada. So this is definitely a good update and falls in line with what I was thinking Nintendo could do. If you missed what I said, I felt that Nintendo could announce the pre-order date after the Mario Kart World Direct. Well, why should you say? Well, one, because it's being bundled with the system. We've already got the Nintendo Switch 2 presentation, which went down on April 2nd. There was quite a bit of controversy and confusion, but things are kind of simmering down a bit. People are looking at the games, people are discussing the games, people are deciding whether they want to pre-order or not, if they even want to get into this. And I think now at this point, it's kind of more heading towards, okay, these games are looking cool, the footage is coming out from the different play hands-on events, and it's just looking dope overall. Nintendo's kind of sprinkling in some stuff here and there on Twitter, and it's looking like it's going to be pretty awesome when it comes to the Nintendo Switch 2. It's what we wanted with the Nintendo Switch 1, but just incredibly better at this point, because we're moving on to a more advanced chipset, way more powerful system, more features with mouse mode and different features with the system itself. So this is just something that people have wanted for quite some time. So I do believe that it's going to be incredibly popular for people to rush out and pre-order. Now you combine this with the news, if you missed it, where about 100 or so Switch 2 units will be in each GameStop here in the US. I don't know about the allocation for other places, but we're hearing around that. That's definitely a significant bump above what most GameStops had for Nintendo Switch 1, but this is all just rumor now at this point. It's not like it's something that's confirmed overall, but it looks like Nintendo's going to have significantly more stock with the Nintendo Switch 2 than the Nintendo Switch 1. And pre-orders, once again, I do feel, look out for this Thursday, April 17th. Nintendo has a Mario Kart World Nintendo Direct that's going down. It's going to be going over everything with Mario Kart World. And I do feel that on the 17th, we could get that announcement of the pre-order date. So hey, we're going to be announcing that you'll be able to pre-order on April 21st, which if I look at my calendar, that is this upcoming Monday. So just keep that in mind, guys. April 17th for the Mario Kart World Direct. See what Nintendo has to say. April 21st, potentially for a date with it. But if nothing happens on April 17th, I don't know. Nintendo could still just randomly announce on Friday that, hey, look, pre-orders are on Monday. But if nothing happens on Thursday, chances are nothing will be happening on the 21st. I don't think that's enough time to give people to pre-order overall, or at least the announcement of it. So look out for potentially even an announcement on Monday, April 21st for pre-orders later that week, or potentially even the following week up until Wednesday. That would be the 30th. But I do think that they're going to happen at some point this month. The Mario Kart World Direct is a perfect opportunity because people are going to be looking at that show. It's going to have millions of viewers across the world, and that would be a perfect time to say, okay, here's when you're going to be able to get your hands on the system, especially after all of the controversy that was kind of swirling around with it. But like I said, I think it's kind of subsided a little bit. People are kind of calmed down, and people can decide whether you want to get this system or not. I think that Nintendo Switch 2 bundle with Mario Kart World is going to be incredibly attractive, as it shaves $30 off the price of the physical edition of Mario Kart World. So we'll see how that works out. But one thing that I want to also see that works out is that all of you guys that are not subscribed, hitting that subscribe button and becoming a part of the community here. So hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and click that notification bell to get my vids as soon as they drop, as we're dropping new vids all the time, and of course live streams, keeping you informed on the right information. But let's go ahead and move on to the next topic here with the Nintendo Switch 2, and this is kind of weird in terms of how all of this have came about. So there's a game called Ease 10 Nordics that came out a couple years ago in Japan, recently came out here in the US, and it's a fine game. There's nothing wrong with it. It's pretty good. Falcom, they know what they're doing. It's the Ease system, so if you've played Ease 8, Lacrimosa of Dana, if you play those type of games, it's pretty much in line with that, with some different types of gimmicks and mechanics to be more of boat battles and different type of stuff like that. It's a cool game. Did well, reviewed well. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they announced we're having an enhanced edition of the game. And it's like, okay, well, the regular edition of the game hasn't even came out yet in the US or just came out. But okay, whatever. They even sent me a special edition of the game. Hey, make sure you check it out, play it. Yeah, it's awesome. But then all of a sudden, Ease 10 Proud Nordics was announced. And then now, out of nowhere, they just announced it for the Nintendo Switch 2. So we haven't gotten an official confirmed release in terms of other platforms, but they just randomly said, hey, it's coming to Nintendo Switch 2, and they gave the information there. Now I'm looking at Gematsu, and usually they're pretty good with making sure that they see all the platforms that a game is announced for, and it essentially just says Switch 2. So it says this is the first details. Now I'm not insinuating or saying that this is only going to be on the Nintendo Switch 2. I just think it's weird that they said, okay, we're going to do this special edition. It's on PS4. I think it's on PS5, at least backwards compatibility. It's on Nintendo Switch, whatever, right? Then all of a sudden, Switch 2 is announced. Hey, this one's coming to Switch 2 without even confirming the other platforms first. So that is definitely a bit weird, but I do think that it does kind of tell you what Japan thinks about the Nintendo Switch 2, and that is pretty much one of the main key points that I've been trying to hit on. I'll hit on it a little bit in this video, but I've been trying to talk about even before the Nintendo Switch 2 was launched, how Japanese developers are not going to wait before they announce their games for the Nintendo Switch 2 this time around. They can do it in-house. The system is strong enough. The system is going to be popular. The price and everything so far is good in Japan. I can see a high rate of people that have Nintendo Switch 1s trading them in or simply just buying the Nintendo Switch 2 as soon as possible. It's going to be pandemonium there based off of what we're seeing so far. We're already getting developers just leapfrogging other systems that the game was already on to say it's coming to Nintendo Switch 2. So that is the biggest difference with Nintendo Switch 1, where you had to essentially pull teeth to somehow get a game to come to the system back in 2017, 2018, even 2019. Even Falcom, they were very apprehensive in saying, I don't know, we don't know if the base is there. And now we don't even have to ask for anything. We don't even have to beg for anything. We don't have to say anything. It's just announced when it already came to other platforms. That is just something that's never happened with Falcom, and we're going to see more of that with these Japanese developers. Ease 10 Nordics, we've got the first details too, so there's more information about the game. Gematsu has all the information on the physical first print bonuses in Japan, and all sorts of stuff, more about the characters, the upgrades in the game, what you can expect, the gameplay, what they've done to update everything. Ease 10 Proud Nordics is already a good game. We also have a launch date in Japan of July 31st, so I'm hoping maybe they'll have it out by the end of the year here in the US, or maybe early 2026 in the US, so we'll see about that. But either way, Ease 10 Proud Nordics already announced for the Nintendo Switch 2 before we even get anything else with it. Now, I do feel that it's going to come to PS4 or PS5 or the Nintendo Switch 1, but I think that maybe they just wanted to make a bit more of a splash with the Nintendo Switch 2 announcement, and I do think that they've seen enough with the sales with Nintendo Switch 1 titles to say, okay, we can make that announcement and it's not going to be too much of a problem. We also have stuff like Trails in the Sky, first chapter. That was announced for the Nintendo Switch 1 first and foremost. Expect that game to be announced for the Nintendo Switch 2 coming up pretty soon here as well. I'm pretty sure there's a Switch 2 version already ready to go, cooking up, and we'll probably launch day and date with the other versions of the game. So what do you guys think about this when it comes to Ease 10 Proud Nordics? Let me know in the comment section. But we are going to move on to the next topic here, and we've got another Nintendo Switch 2 announcement from a game that was already announced for multiple other platforms, and it seems like this game has been in development for forever, and that is Inazuma 11 Victory Road. We've got new versions added in, Xbox Series and Nintendo Switch 2 versions, and it does seem like the iOS and Android versions are no longer planned. So Inazuma 11 Victory Road will launch officially for the PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, Nintendo Switch 2, PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, and PC via Steam on August 21st with complete cross-play and cross-save support, which is absolutely incredible. Good job on level 5. This makes this far more of a buy for people if you want to have a portable version in addition to like a PS5 version, home console version, or whatever the case is. I really love what they've done here. More developers need to get that type of stuff done. Love that so much. Level 5 recently announced this, and the Xbox Series and Nintendo Switch 2 versions are newly announced, and the iOS and Android versions are seemingly no longer planned. Pre-orders will begin today for the PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, PlayStation 4, and the PC. The game will support English, Japanese, traditional Chinese, simplified Chinese, French, Italian, German, Spanish, and Brazilian Portuguese language options. Globally, including Japan, the game will be a digital-only release available through the following editions: Standard, Deluxe, and oh my gosh, all of a sudden the excitement just kind of goes down with a digital-only type of release. But if you like Inazuma 11, then you probably want to support the game regardless of it. But I do think that the full cross-save and cross-play type of support with online and everything is very good. Cross-save is something that just should be a thing overall. Like, I think that cross save, if you have a multi-platform game, there's got to be something that you can do to make sure that your saves work across. So if somebody decides to say, okay, well, I'm selling this system and getting a new system, or if I want to move over to a different platform, they have no problem doing that and bringing their save over. I know it's not the easiest thing in the world. I've spoken to developers about it. It's kind of hard at times, but I still feel that it's something that should be done overall. And I think that it benefits the consumer more than anything. And I think it will actually help improve sales. You could get some double dips, especially with Nintendo Switch 2 versions and PS5 versions of the game, or Xbox Series and Nintendo Switch 2, or even PC, Nintendo Switch 2 and Nintendo Switch 1, having that portable and home console type of version, or anywhere that you want with a PC laptop, or having it on your PS5. Like, there's so many combinations that you can do with Steam Deck or something else. So it makes sense to me, and I'm very happy that it's here. The full complete breakdown of characters and items and different things that you get is on Gematsu if you want to read about the full thing. Link in the description. Now we're going to move on to the final topic here, guys. Let's talk about Street Fighter 6, which is already a game key card, so it's got people somewhat upset overall that it's not the full game on the cartridge. But we do have some actual DLC that's launching the day of the Nintendo Switch 2 and Street Fighter 6, as that's a launch title game. It's due out alongside the Nintendo Switch 2 version, so Street Fighter 6 downloadable content character Elena will launch on June 5th alongside the launch of its Switch 2 version and years 1 through 2 Fighters Edition, Capcom has announced. With nature and wildlife at her side, Elena dances into Street Fighter 6 on June 5th, the same day the year's 1-2 Fighters Edition arrives. Like a meerkat, stay alert and keep an eye out on our channels for her gameplay trailer coming soon. Elena can be purchased individually with fighter coins, and the owners of the Year 2 Character Pass / Ultimate Pass will automatically get access to Elena when she releases. Please note that depending on your time zone you reside in, Elena may release the day before on June 4th, following server maintenance. Of course, Street Fighter 6 is available now for the PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, PlayStation 4, and PC via Steam. So the interesting thing about this game, if you haven't heard about it when it comes to my story, is that when my son was being born, I actually purchased the game when I was in the hospital as he was asleep in the dead of the night, as I saw a great deal on GameStop, and they never delivered it to me. It never got fulfilled, and I ended up never getting the game. That was back in 2023 in the fall or so. So the fact that I never got the game, I think maybe it was a little bit of a blessing in disguise, I guess, because now I can pick up the Nintendo Switch 2 version of this game. It's a fighting title, so while I would like to have it all on disc or cartridge, like, fighting games to me are a bit more like whatever. I'm going to be playing them randomly. I don't mind having those digitally, just like I do with Super Smash Brothers or other fighting games that I've played before in the past, like Blaze Blue or things like that. Those are fine to me overall, but at the same time, I do think that this Elena character obviously looks kind of different from where she was in Street Fighter 3rd Strike and other Street Fighter games, but she's a pretty cool character to use. Never been one of my favorites to use. I'm a big Ken person in Street Fighter. I do like Ken. I do like Vega a little bit as well. I've used a lot of characters. I was really into Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, and I was in it a little bit when it comes to the PlayStation 3 and like when they remixed it. But overall, yeah, I'm looking forward to finally getting back into Street Fighter now with the Nintendo Switch 2. Having a portable version is also good as well. So yeah, just really cool. Looking forward to a lot of different stuff here. And the fact that we're getting a game like Street Fighter 6 right there at launch is incredibly impressive and definitely a good sign for Capcom support going forward in the future. But what do you guys think overall when it comes to everything that we talked about here with the Nintendo Switch 2 pre-order situation, East 10 Proud Nordics, Inazuma 11, and of course the DLC? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and check out my other Nintendo Switch RPG content and more right here on screen. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.